Hello there, and welcome. Welcome back if you're returning to the channel. Uh, this video will be a reaction to Put Them in the Box by Leaflit and Asari. Well, it's Leaflit, but yeah, that's the channel's name is Leaflit and Asari. And this was recommended to me by a commenter, Christopher Elliott. He suggested it, so I figured I would give this a look see. It turns out I have seen this video before. I just didn't remember it because it was filtered through several other reactions and I just didn't know the name of the video. I had seen Nux react to this, and I had seen Leaflet's response to Nux's reaction to it. Because Nux, while he is a lore master, he is also sometimes incredibly obtuse. And doesn't quite get everything in a video that has him in it. But yeah. So I ended up also watching Leaflet's breakdown of this video as well on recommendation by Christopher Elliott. And while I appreciate the breakdown, it also removes several of my questions, which I think make up a majority of my commentary because, like, with the questions, I can like pull from it and it sort of expands out from there. The thoughts grow from there. So when I have the answers, I I'm kind of just left with, oh well, yeah, I know that. But I'll do my best to still give some good commentary. I do have a few ideas uh, rolling around from what Leaflet has said, especially with one particular part where she was having a problem with Grok, and I figured out what her problem was, which was pretty neat. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get on into the reaction. Okay. It is pretty neat that she used just a filter and just took random images of like uh, things that were happening in modern day of cultural relevance and just put her anime Asmongold on top. That was pretty cool. And I do like the fact that there is a story she's trying to tell here. It's not just random. um, I really like that there's a protagonist and antagonist, and just characters within all of this. So this image in particular strikes home to me because I'm on X. So yeah, I've seen the name calling going around, and uh, it is what it is. As far as being called a maggot. Now, I'm not super MAGA. I'm That's an interesting thing to think about. But I would say that I'm kind of on the level of Nux in that I freaking love Trump. I love what he's doing. As anyone who's watched the earlier videos knows, but I'm also I can be skeptical of Trump, and I can be very skeptical of the rest of the Republican Party. And at the moment, John Thune. I don't know if anyone else in this sphere is keeping up with that, but John Thune is very anti-Trump. He might try to put on a good face and mask it, but the very fact that he has pretty much done nothing to bring the SAVE Act to the Senate floor has basically shown his colors. He's come out and stated that that they don't have time to put the SAVE Act on the floor and risk a filibuster when they have so many other things that they need to be doing. And what happens like a day after he says this? They hold a puppy parade in the on Capitol Hill. So yeah, absolutely, he's talking out of his ass. Really, it's a real shame that he was voted in as a majority leader. I really wish that it was Rick Scott. Anyway, that was a complete tangent, but all of that just reminded me of my interactions on X and how the left calls us maggots. The name calling. Now, it is interesting that Leaflit chose the cross for this imagery. I know that she changed some details, so she was trying to, I'm guessing, not be blasphemous in the imagery by doing as much as she could to remove the Christ like imagery from it. But in so doing, like even her trying her best to not be blasphemous and make Asmongold into this Christ figure, I think it shows just how powerful the Christ imagery is and how much he's impacted the world in his death, in his resurrection, and his teachings. America is a Christian nation. I don't care what anybody else says. And later on, with Charlie coming into the picture, Charlie does an amazing job at illustrating the point that we are very much a Christian nation. But beyond that, beyond all of that, the West was built off of Christ's sacrifice. If you look into what makes the Western monomyth, the archetype that is most potent among us in the West, is the figure of self-sacrifice. The figure who lays down his life for the ultimate good of saving everyone. Now, the term everyone can be localized to everyone that he cares about, everyone in the village, everyone in the city, everyone in the world, everyone in the universe. It scales as it does. But the ultimate form of what we see as a heroic figure, and the hero is the archetype that we look toward in our mythologies, is that self sacrificial heroic figure. And I think she, a leaflet, has tapped into that imagery with Asmongold. He is willing to take the brunt of the assaults in this online sphere, so that the truth can get out there. Now, is he always correct in his interpretations or in what he sees? No, but I see that he does value the truth. So I think this image was quite apropos, and I'm glad that Leaflet even went so far as to say, hey, I did my best not to liken him to Christ, like a one-to-one picture, but to simply have that emotion evoked. Now, I'm quite the nerd, so I do enjoy that she brought in the Infinity Gauntlet, and I get why, because the Infinity Saga, the Marvel movies, were a cornerstone to the 2010s. You could say what you want to, like, it was Marvel slop, or they weren't all great, they were all mid, blah, 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 blah. You can say what you want, but you cannot deny that they were a cultural cornerstone for the 2010s. From 2012, well, you could say 20 or 2008, 2008, with Iron Man, but really it started with 2012 and the Avengers. 2012 all the way into 2019 with Infinity War and then Endgame, that was dominated by Marvel. And again, that story of uh, heroes. And we've seen, funnily enough, we've seen the downfall of Marvel because they lost sight of what makes a hero. They focused too hard on giving their heroes powers and all of the glitz and glamour around it, as well as putting in their own woke agenda and all that. But for the most part, it was the fact that they lost sight of what makes a hero. And it's that um, it, it's that mentality of self sacrifice, and you just don't see that in the modern heroes. The sacrifice comes from elsewhere, or it's not really a sacrifice at all. It's simply the oh, what's the word for it? The simulacrum of sacrifice, where they quote unquote lose something, but it wasn't really theirs to begin with, or it wasn't something that would truly be considered a sacrifice. It was a loss for sure, but it wasn't a sacrifice, which is something sacred. That's why they share that that root sacra, which is sacred. It is personal to you, and you treasure it, and you have to release it for the greater good. And the ultimate sacrifice, which is the ultimate position that a hero can be put in, is to sacrifice their life, because that is the greatest good, as Christ says. The greatest love anyone can do is to sacrifice themselves for a friend. So, yeah, another tangent on that image. I have to pause on this. This this meme is from 2016, and 10 years later it is still so fresh and so valid of an image. Boggles the mind. Now, I wouldn't have known what the pliers meant had it not been for Leaflit explaining this. So I guess I will say thank you for sending me to her breakdown, because I would have been like, pliers? Okay. Mark Plier? Now, with this, again, this is going to be a slight tangent, but I am a One Piece fan, and I absolutely love that Leaflet integrated this so well that the only way to deal with them is to put them in an asylum where the warden is more poisonous than their brain rot and their ideology and their mentalities. So I absolutely loved that, as well as the fact that Impel Down, I don't know if Leaflet knew this, but Impel Down was modeled off of Dante's Inferno, Dante's Circles of Hell. So it's very apropos. And I'm not sure if Leaflet knew about that, but it just fits so well. And I am a big fan of Andrew Wilson, so I love that he is the receptionist to the asylum. He is there to greet all of the inmates, or shall we say, patients. And the lyrics here, the harbinger of logic, the what is next called? The surgeon of their pain. So mwah, chef's kiss. And this was something that I thought was, I don't know how Nux missed it. She even puts it in the lyrics, surgeon of their pain, and he thought this was a Rasengan, and I'm like, but it says surgeon. Obviously, it's Trafalgar Trafalgar Law from One Piece using his room. Granted, The orb, it stays the same size, so it doesn't expand like room does. So I could see where he might be hung up on the imagery, but that's where Nux sometimes fails. He kind of tunnel visions on one thing, and he doesn't take the whole. Uh, Especially like with if any of you have seen his reaction to or Crybrows, uh, he completely missed the point of what Skybrows was doing. The context, the lore. So yeah, but I absolutely love the marriage of the lyrics and the imagery here. So with that lyric, I get what Leaflit is going for here. Me being a Christian, I see it as in another way, in another light, of the world will get better, but give it time and the world will get worse because there will be no true paradise until the end of time when Christ comes back and he will wipe out this universe. The old heavens and earth will pass away, and then he will bring in the new earth and the new heaven, which he is spending this time as we speak building for us. So, yeah, all of that to say, I get what Leaflet is going for, but it won't be paradise. It will just be better. So one of the things that I wanted to skip to was the heat map showing that the left cares more about what is the furthest away from them. So that it scales out from immediate family to distant family or even close friends to their general community to their greater community, which is like the city in which they live, possibly, to the state in which they're in, to the country, and then into the world. It's inverted actually with the left. It goes from out to in. So they are the most hostile to those they are closest to. And we actually see that with what they do with their friends who disagree with them. They ostracize themselves. And that's what makes them somewhat of a cult, is they are fully willing to cut off ties with anyone that disagrees with their ideology. And that is a very dangerous thing to do because not only are you isolating yourself more and more and more, but that builds up a wall of distrust, and that distrust goes not only to the people that you've cut yourself off from, but those who remain, because you're trusting fewer and fewer and fewer people. Now, granted, I don't trust everyone myself, but there are degrees of trust. And when you're setting such hard lines of distrust with so many people, that distrust builds and will rear its head in your closer circles as well. Um, and and I can see with that kind of mindset why uh, the Karens, as she depicts them later on in this video, why they are so gung ho with protecting Somali pirates. Yeah, let's just call it what it is, Somali pirates, um, because those are the furthest away from them, um, and that's where they can send their empathy to, because they don't have to interact with those people. It's safer for them. There's still that distrust there, but they need something to latch onto, so they'll reach onto the safest way to still have quote unquote trust, which really isn't trust any at all. It's a simulacrum of trust. And it's a lie, really, to themselves. And actually mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, was the Candace Owens blowing the lid on Black Lives Matter, taking the money and just enriching themselves. Yep. All a scam. 2020 was full of scams and frauds. Frugan. Now, this was actually fairly interesting to me in that Leaflit mentioned, like, with the lines and the imagery here, and it's quite apropos that all of Asmongold's haters are also essentially his biggest fans, in that they somewhat need him to be as popular as he is, so they can blah, blah, throw stones at him, so that they can scold him, so that they have an object of hate toward him. So while they hate him with all their being, they also need him to be as popular as he is, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy in that regard. I don't remember if Nux said it in his reaction, but Lisan al Gharib. It's the Mahdi. I love the fact that she brought this in as well. I miss Charlie so much. Um, he was he was the best of us, and it's so true. Uh, what they were saying when he died, when he was killed. I won't sugarcoat it. When he was assassinated, it's true what they said is, you just created a million more Charlie Kirks. So true. And I feel so blessed to have seen that. I am so glad that God is moving in this country. And I pray every day that he continues to move, that he continues to grant our leaders the wisdom to move us further in the right direction, in by the will of God. And yeah, I just absolutely love what she did here. let's see. Oh, I think, did I skip it? Was it that early in the video? Oh, I lost myself. I think it was a little bit later. Hmm. Yeah, how did I miss it? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, guys. uh, essentially, well, I cannot find it for the life of me. Um, essentially, it's the scene where the Somalis are riding the Karen pigs, and in Leaflit's um, breakdown of the video, she mentioned that she had to go through like 80 prompts to get to that image that she wanted of the Somalis riding these Karen pigs, because it kept trying to um, put the imagery of Somalis uh, doing stuff to actual Karens. And I commented on her video about this, but the problem, I immediately heard it, was she was trying to use Karens as a noun. And for Grok, it was reading that as a noun. So Karens were the noun and Somalis were the noun. Um, or The Karens were the subject and the Somalis were the direct object. And it was trying to merge those. Whereas pigs was something of an adjective, or it was just too many nouns for Grok to handle at the time. So the better way to put it into Grok is to say the Somalis are riding angry pigs with Karen haircuts and nose rings. And I only had to do 2 attempts in Grok to get very, very similar imagery to what Leaflit had finally come up with in her video. Like, I'm saying, like, 1 to 2 iterations of just fine tuning, and I would have had exactly what Leaflet had. So when you're using Grok, it's very intentional how you phrase what you're looking for. If you're seeing that Grok is reading something as a noun, try to change it so that it becomes something more of an adjective, or maybe, um, yeah, as adjective would work the best if you're trying to get it to appropriate the features of something onto something else. Anyway, that big tangent aside, I think one last thing. Okay, so I loved that she brought Warren into this, because I love Warren as well. He's quite the thinker. I love his analytical nature, and I love the fact that for the most part, he is uh, I would say he's the quote unquote enlightened centrist. Um, uh, and if you guys haven't realized, I'm very much a conservative. But with Warren, he understands merits of an argument, and he tries to put himself outside of those blinders. Uh, I don't quite see it as blinders to choose a side in this cultural war, but I get where he's coming from. So yeah, I just loved that she added him into this, and yeah, and of course Hassan getting hit. Um, oh, with shoe on head. Oh my goodness, that young lady. Good grief. I appreciate her takes for the most part, but I think that she is clinging on to a dream, something that she has gotten it into her head it can be done, and she won't let that go. Even as she sees her ideas in real time not working out like she thinks they will, she still has some sort of fantasy that there it can be done, and I'm just like, come on, just embrace reality just a little bit. And I just I love seeing Hassan being hit and put into his place. Good for you, Asmund. You weren't even trying. But yeah, that is my reaction slash commentary to put them in the box. I hope you guys found it enlightening and entertaining. Um, and of course, let me know if there are any other videos that you want me to react to. I know that I have a few creators in mind myself. One is Lord Intellectual. I think I'm going to try to find a video to react of his. I think I've decided not to do his BDSM video. I think it's a little too spicy for me. But I am interested in his desire to have intellectual conversation. So I would like to do a reaction slash commentary in order to open up a dialogue with him. Anyway, leave any of your recommendations in the comments below. And I hope that you like the video and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.